All right, everybody. Good morning. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got a lot to go through here. The mock game was yesterday. I already did the brief recap, but I now want to go into more granular detail on everything that went down at this game. And again, I was not at the game. My ability to watch the game was basically limited to whatever the Seahawks official Twitter posted. So all I can really do is just pass along what other people have said. But there were quite a few people at that game. I hope you guys that went did have fun. And we did get a lot of good information from the people who were there, mostly Condotta, Bell, and Corbin Smith. A little bit of Brady Henderson, a little bit of Mike Dugar. Those were my main guys, so shout out to those guys as well. And let's talk about what they had to say about this mock game. Now, once again, I want to be very clear here. A good chunk of this game, anyway, was the ones versus the twos. So you would expect the ones to be relatively dominant. You would expect the ones to do very well. And if they don't do well, that's probably a bad indicator for the upcoming season. Or maybe it's an indicator that your backup should be the starters. I don't know. But understand that the goal is to see positive signs from your backups, but ultimately you're definitely going in there hoping that your starters are the ones who are winning most of the battles. So let's go ahead and dive in here. Let's start with some tweets about who was playing where. There's a little bit of interesting wrinkles potentially. There are some, or excuse me, there are some potentially interesting wrinkles in how this team is going to utilize their personnel. Kobe Bryant was lining up as a safety with the backups. So he was starting at safety with the backups, but he was also starting at dime cornerback, apparently, with the first defense, according to Greg Bell here. So he actually got to play on both sides. So I don't know who he was rooting for to win, but he got to play on both sides. And you can see we're trying to take advantage of that versatility with Kobe Bryant, which, I mean, I like it. I think that's a great idea. Kobe Bryant really may end up being a better safety than he is a cornerback, even an outside cornerback. I know he's not a slot, but he may not be a great outside corner either. He may find his destiny at safety, where his ball hawk skills and physicality and the tremendous ability he had to rip the ball out of people's hands really could manifest itself even better as a safety. So that was one of the lineup wrinkles that we saw. So I like that. I think stuff like that is always a good idea. The starting defensive front, because Taylor was out, although I have a feeling this is going to be the starting defensive front even if Taylor's in. Mafe and Nwosu at the edges with Jones, Reed, and Edwards as the linemen. So you've got basically exactly what the team has laid out in training camp so far. Jones and Edwards are your ends. Reed is your nose tackle. I mean, it's interesting. It's one way to deal with this roster issue that we have where we don't have a clear-cut number one nose tackle. And it seems like it's got a chance, man. It's got a real chance to work. It honestly, it probably has just as good a chance to work as Cameron Young getting massive snaps. Speaking of Cameron Young, he was the backup nose tackle. So he is getting some burn. He is getting some attention. He's a guy who's been positively shouted out from Carroll already. But it looks like we are planning on making him the backup, which definitely not a bad idea. He is fourth round rookie. So right now it seems like he is the backup, but he is indeed playing at nose tackle. The initial kickoff was taken by DJ Dallas, and don't discount DJ Dallas in this role. He has proven he can be a decent kickoff return man. And admittedly, I would like somebody more explosive, especially if they're going to that XFL kickoff. But DJ Dallas has proven he can actually be a good kickoff returner. It's become a smaller part of the game, admittedly, but DJ Dallas can do it. Like DJ Dallas is probably part of the reason why we didn't bring back a Godwin from last year. So DJ Dallas seems to have the inside track on being the starting kickoff returner, especially now that Eskridge, and I'll get to Eskridge in a second here, we know that we're not going to have him for at least the first 6 games. So the first down by the backup offense was this one right here. Seahawks go dime with Bryan and Witherspoon on the field, as was said before. Locke hits Bobo, and that's a name that's worth keeping in mind as we go through the rest of this video. Bobo was a guy who really did himself some favors last night. He looked good. Apparently, Gino was looking his way, and Locke was looking his way, and maybe even a little Holton Allers was looking his way a little bit. He made several very nice plays in this game. So Jake Bobo did himself some serious favors. I didn't hear the name of Matt Landers all that much yesterday. So Bobo, if you're looking at those two guys and you're saying one of these guys can make the team, Bobo is doing himself some favors right now. So he makes this third down catch on the first drive of the game for the second string offense. A couple other notes in terms of lineup stuff. We've got Evan Brown starting at center, which, I mean, that's pretty expected. What's interesting, though, is that when our starting offense got on the field, because I think the second offense got one first down and then punted, Cody Thompson was out there with Metcalf and JSN. So Lockett's out. Lockett has a little minor injury. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but they hold out Lockett for the game. Metcalf, JSN are joined by Cody Thompson. Cody Thompson, kind of a forgotten man to me. I kind of forget about him sometimes because I'm thinking about some of these new guys we got, some of these guys that I think have a little more potential than a Cody Thompson. But Cody Thompson, I guess you can't count him out. If he's the guy we trust to be a starting receiver more than guys who just got here, like Landers, like Bobo, or even somebody like a Cade Johnson, who has been here for a little while, but maybe we trust Cody Thompson more, then Cody Thompson's got a real chance. Cody Thompson could end up making this roster if we have that faith in him. Now, keep in mind, Derek Young was also out yesterday. He had a minor injury as well that they didn't offer too many details about. But Cody Thompson, if he's the next man up after Derek Young, then that would make him the fifth receiver, and maybe he ends up getting that spot. And he's a guy who I gave very little consideration to. So shout out to Cody, because this will not be the last time I say his name in this video. First big play of the game was Metcalf catching a long pass from Geno Smith on a third down. Gets across Bryant. Just had Kobe beat. This was the one play that the Seahawks Twitter account actually tweeted out that you're able to watch. So pretty stock standard stuff. Good throw, good catch, nice long gain. Kobe doesn't have much of a shot there. And you can see some of his minor limitations as a player and why he may end up in looking better in a role where he's able to play safety. Not too long after the Metcalf catch, we had the JSN catch. It was like a 30-yarder, gets inside the 5-yard line. And I believe on the very next play, he drew a pass interference in the end zone. Obviously, it only gets you a couple yards. But JSN made a good, big first impression. The next play, I believe, we had a DJ Dallas touchdown run, 2-yard touchdown run from DJ Dallas. Will Dissly throws the block on Kobe Bryant to clear out the space. So, yeah, DJ Dallas gets the first touchdown of the mock game. Hopefully, DJ Dallas running with the first team offense is not a bad omen of things to come, but yeah, DJ Dallas has proven that he belongs in this league. He's not a hyper-elite player, of course. He will never be a superstar, but he's proven he can do some things. So, yeah, DJ Dallas gets the first touchdown of the mock game, and it was a successful drive for the first team offense. Then the first team defense gets on the field, and they started to dominate, it sounded like. They started to play really well. Devin Bush, who has not been shouted out very much in training camp so far this year, had a run stop on a first down. Then you had a Draymond Jones sack. So immediately that front seven is starting to have an impact in this game. There was a holding penalty on Anthony Bradford that took away a Boye Mafe sack. Drew Lock actually had a long scramble on the play that was called back by the penalty. So Anthony Bradford comes up with the penalty, which, I mean, you want to talk about raw. Anthony Bradford is as raw as it gets right now. He barely played in college, it feels like. So Mafe probably should have gotten a sack here, but got held. So he still makes a good play, right? And remember that name as well, Boye Mafe, because this was not the last big play he made in this game. Just in general, it seems like those two guys are the standouts in terms of new additions. Draymond knew because he wasn't here last year, and Mafe knew in the sense that he was a rookie last year and only able to do so much. So it seems like just in general, those guys looked really good against backups, but they looked really good, really promising stuff there. Um, this was Artie Burns. Corbin Smith tweets about how he had a PBU on Metcalf on a slightly underthrown deep ball, and Artie Burns would go on to have 3 PBUs in the first half. So he is making a case to be a rosterable NFL player this year. And again, if we end up choosing to trade one of our young defensive backs, part of the reason why will be because we look at Artie Burns and go, he is good enough. He is okay. He is capable of being our 4th outside corner this year in case people get hurt. So look for that as a possibility as we move through this remainder of this offseason. The first injury, this one could actually be a fairly significant one. Andrew Whitaker, XFL cornerback competing for special teams, left on a cart, suffered on a kick return play. So that's obviously unfortunate. He had long odds to make the roster anyway. And I guess now he gets that injury, a little bit of injury money. But obviously, if he's getting carted off, there's at least a decent chance his season's already over. So we don't love that. One more generalized positive shout out that I kind of farmed from the people who were watching this game. There wasn't any one particular play where they were specifically calling this guy out in a positive way, but a general sense was around Mike Morris. You have this tweet from Seahawks Forever. Seems like Mike Morris played quite well, and he's 2 going up against the 1s. So Mike Morris, he's on the right track here. I'm not expecting a huge rookie season or something from him, but he will get a chance to play. So good news here. And here's one of the Cody Thompson plays I was talking about. He converted on a 3rd and long. I believe I saw somewhere it was a 3rd and 17. He picked up 21 yards. So yeah, that's a significant play. I know it's a mock game, but is it an indicator that Cody Thompson is somebody we trust more than some of these other fringe receivers we have? So I don't know. He's got to be taken a little bit seriously here. I mean, converting a 3rd and long is no joke. It's not easy to do against a defense that knows a longer pass is coming. So definitely something notable as we move forward through this training camp portion, trying to figure out who stays on this team. We also had a positive shout out from the Seahawks Forever podcaster on the offensive line, performing well versus, again, the backups, Morris, Hall, Miles Adams, and Smith, Robert Cooper, and Cam Young. I did note with some degree of happiness from this tweet that it means Robert Cooper is actually getting on the field and doing stuff, which is awesome because he's somebody who just joined this team and is somebody who I kind of had on my radar when we first got him right after the draft as somebody who could end up playing a key role here. So I think that the fact that he's getting on the field with the 2s in the mock game could be indicative of a future role for him. Brady Henderson talking more about Artie Burns and the 3 passes defense that I mentioned before. And like I said, he's helping his case. He is making an argument for being roster worthy. And that gives us some interesting options this offseason. I'm sorry, not this offseason, this season, if we decide he's good enough to keep around. Corbin Smith calls out Boye Mafe here, strip sack on Drew Lock, and the defense recovers. So again, Mafe doing things, turning heads, getting positive attention. It's all great news. It's big news. And it is, I think, a very important part of this team having a great season this year. So great news there. Love Mafe. Love the development. Love everything that I'm hearing about him. Corbin does go on to defend Drew Lock a little bit, who did put up good numbers, by the way. I want to say that. Drew Lock had good numbers in this game. He didn't play poorly at all. But he does mention that the defense was giving it to him a little bit. They were putting pressure on him. There were a few drops in there. So, near as I can tell, Drew Lock was being a man, hanging in there, still making plays, still doing positive things despite being under duress. So, I like hearing that about my starting defense, and I like hearing that about my backup quarterback, I guess you could say. So, at the end of the day, your starting defense should be able to beat up your backup offensive line. And now we get into, I think this was right around the second half. Again, it's a mock game. It doesn't necessarily follow the exact cadence of a real game. This was the first time I saw the name of D. Eskridge. And right now, we're thinking about D. Eskridge for all the wrong reasons. He did have a long kickoff return. Ruled down at the 40, but he sprinted all the way to the end zone believing he had a touchdown. Either way, this is probably where he can break into this team in a at least somewhat meaningful way on special teams. Not so much kick returns, but maybe kick returns, but really punt returns. I believe JSN returned at least one punt yesterday, and obviously that's not something we're going to be looking to do when the actual season starts very much. I don't think that's dangerous. So Eskridge did make a few catches in this game. He did do some stuff on special teams. He had a nice kick return on this, like I said here, like was said here. But right now, obviously, we're thinking about him for other reasons. It seems like he's going to stick around, though. Let me just go ahead and say that right now. It seems like we're going to keep him because supposedly the team knew about this incident for months and decided to keep him anyway. So I don't know why they changed their mind now. This was the only injury to a player who is likely to make the team that I know of. Kenny McIntosh got his left knee bent in awkwardly getting tackled on an inside running play, lost a fumble. I believe he was ruled down, and then Carroll challenged it and won the challenge. So it was a fumble. He got up, flexing his knee. I think he got an ice pack on the knee in the tent. So we're going to need a little bit of time to figure out exactly what's going on there. It didn't seem that bad, but it seemed significant enough to keep him out of the game. And Charbonnet, by the way, did not participate in this mock game. They said he would, but I don't think he was out there at all. I think a few people said that I never got the ball at the very least. So McIntosh was the one injury of note coming out of this one. Condotta here talks about our third string quarterback, Holton Ahlers, who actually had a pretty decent game. Ran for a few first downs, threw for a few first downs. Here he hit a Griffin Hebert for a touchdown. Griffin Hebert, by the way, got a chance at the practice squad. Don't count him out on taking that Tyler Mabry spot. He might do it. So Holton Ahlers made a little bit of a case for maybe being the practice squad quarterback, and Griffin Hebert brings in the touchdown, making a little bit of an argument for being the practice squad tight end. Here we've got the one bad throw, and it wasn't really that bad of a throw, it sounds like, from a lock, according to Corbin Smith. Had Aesop Winston for a first down, passed two out in front of him. So we're seeing some of the things that are still kind of holding Drew Lock back a little bit, but I feel like this mock game overall was a step in the right direction for him. I like the fact that he was hanging in there. I like the fact that he was doing everything that he could to fight through playing with the second team against the starting defense. We had a running touchdown late by Sir Roderick Thompson Jr., who was somebody we just picked up, a running back who got out there because right now our running back stable is a little bit beat up. If the season started today, maybe DJ Dallas would be the starting running back. I don't know. That may be the case. Jake Bobo ended the day the same way he started the day, catching a pass from Drew Lock, and this time he got in the end zone. So Jake Bobo, I don't know if he was the star of the show. I don't know if you can say that when you know that he's unlikely to make the roster, but Jake Bobo had a big game. And right now, you look at Jake Bobo and you're weighing all these different things. He doesn't have the physical abilities. He doesn't have the athleticism of a Matt Landers. He doesn't have the experience of a Cody Thompson. He's very slow. He's kind of atypical of a receiver in the NFL. But he's producing out there, and at the end of the day, I guess that's what really counts. So right now, Jake Bobo's definitely making some friends on that team, making some friends in that locker room, and the way he played in this mock game, I'm very excited to see what he does in the preseason. So that was essentially how the mock game ended. Jake Bobo ends it the way he started it. So the injury notes: Lockett had some minor tightness, according to Carroll from Condotta, and hamstring, I guess, is the key word there. Which, I mean, we don't like that. Hamstrings can linger on much longer than anticipated, but it doesn't sound like it would be that big of a deal right now. Derek Young being evaluated for a sports hernia, that could actually be a bigger deal for sure. I'm not completely discounting anything with the sports hernia type talk, so hopefully Derek Young's okay. That would be very disappointing if after this Eskridge thing takes him out the first 6 games, we also lose Young. Hopefully we get good news there. And the Kenny McIntosh situation, left knee sprain, severity is unknown. So that's all we have to say about the McIntosh situation at the moment. I didn't hear any updates about the cornerback who got hurt, and that's really about all there was to say. That was a rundown of basically every documented play that I could find. That was a rundown of all the major stuff that happened in the game. There are obviously going to be some plays that don't get mentioned. Like, I think if you look at the stat line, there are definitely plays that are unaccounted for. But this is a pretty good rundown of who stood out in a positive way, quite a few guys. And that's really all I got for this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed taking this ride. I will talk to you guys later today. Another video in the works. Go Hawks. Peace out. Let me know what you guys think about all this. Let me know how you feel about how the team did last night. And I will be seeing you guys later.